My name is Kristen Gutierrez, and I am so excited to be joined today by my friend and client, Lucy Dutton, for this live. And real quick, before Lucy introduces herself, let me go ahead and introduce myself, if that's okay. So I'm a sales and marketing ninja. I help corporations, entrepreneurs, small businesses, and everybody in between sell more of their stuff at higher profit margins. And I do that with 20 years of my corporate background, plus now almost 3 years as an entrepreneur, iterating and saying yes and figuring it out as I go. Okay, so that's a little bit about me. Lucy, tell us where you're calling in from and a little bit more about you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you very much for inviting me, first of all, Kristen. It's exciting to be here. I haven't done one of these double ones for a long time. And I'm calling in from the UK. And I'm a holistic or an aligned peak performance coach and speaker. I'm also an international best-selling author. And what I do is, I've been doing that actually, coaching for about 3 decades now, over 3 decades. So I've got a lot of experience helping entrepreneurs to elevate their productivity, their mindset, their confidence. And I also specialize in guiding female entrepreneurs and small business owners to overcome limiting beliefs. That's one of my real key. I love doing that. Aligning with their purpose and creating success with more ease, and then you become more fulfilled and you start to enjoy what you're doing rather than being too stressed what you're doing. So that's a little bit about me.
So cool. I'm going to show you something that once in a while we'll have some comments like this pop up. Do you see it on your body? It says 3 decades experience. Right there in your body. Yeah. Okay, so it's a cool feature of this platform. So I don't want it to like scare you, but anything that you say that I catch on to and I can type fast enough, I'll try to share it and show it for the audience to anchor it. Okay, but so like everybody listen up, because Lucy has 3 decades experience and you are a force to be reckoned with. So what's something that you're working on right now? What do you have coming up?
Oh, well, right now I'm working on a couple of things, but the first thing is actually a workshop. It's just an hour and 15-minute workshop, which it's about the 3rd time I've run it, and I absolutely love it. It's all about boundaries. It's called Say No Without Guilt, the boundary blueprint every female business owner needs.
Ooh.
And so I get a lot of people going, oh, yes, they do. Yes, I do. So it's great fun. And because it's a workshop, it's very interactive. It's not just me telling and teaching. It's me sort of coaching as we go through, and it's interactive as well. So I love doing those kind of, some people call them masterclasses. I call workshops because that's what I feel it truly is. Yeah. And you go away from that with something to implement for yourself. Yes. So even if you don't,
let's talk about that.
Continue on doing anything else, it's like I've got something I can take away with you.
Yes. I want to focus on that, but I want to like back up the train just for a minute. So yeah, like what's so fun about this topic that's so important, saying no without guilt. And in a minute, you can say the second half of it because I was typing say no without guilt and I missed it. But it's so great because I'm say yes and figure it out, right? And in the concept say yes and figure it out, there's still this notion that you can't say yes to everything. This isn't like the Yes Man movie. It really is when to say no so that you can say yes to your next goal, your next project, the next thing that you're getting after. And there's a chapter in the book called The Permission to Say No. So I know that you popped up in one of our shared communities and was like, oh, I have this cheeky workshop, Kristen, you'll think because of your topic. And obviously, like I just love it so much. So I wanted to pause and honor that. So now say like a little bit more about what it is, and then I'll ask you more about like what you do in it. Okay, that way we're just Yeah, we're not barreling down the train track. We're adding real like context here. So what
Yeah,
was
yeah,
this?
yes.
Yeah.
So the second part is the boundary blueprint that every female business owner needs.
Ooh, yes.
And because boundaries are so important to set, right? And setting them as soon as you can, and understanding it's actually okay to set boundaries. And the only people that get upset about you setting a boundary are the people that need to have the boundaries because they were benefiting from you not having them.
Yeah.
And so if somebody gets upset about you setting a boundary, it's because they were already benefiting you having none. Everybody else is like, oh no, that's cool. That really helps me know how far I can go or what I can do or what I can and can't say. So it's just like, if you think of it to children, if a child has a boundary, this is the time you go to bed, or you don't speak like this, or you always say thank you. There's a boundary there that they know that's a good thing, right? And if they push past that, something happens.
Yep.
And then you have
Yep.
to stick to
Well,
the boundaries, Kristen.
I'm laughing because it's applicable to every aspect, even those of us dating.
Yeah.
It's like we have to have boundaries, right? And so that's what's interesting. I was just talking to somebody, and it doesn't matter who, you actually know her, but we're talking about collaborating on something, and it was like we were having a discussion. I was like, oh yeah, like I know how to take up space, and she was almost saying like she shrinks to fit the thing. And so therefore the boundary sometimes is like, no, my opinion matters and I'm going to share it. And also the boundary can be, I don't like what you're saying. And so I need to speak up so that my voice is heard. Right. So let's talk about, for you with your workshop, what are all of the boundaries that you go over? Like, give us something meaty here, because then we can helpfully have people sign up, right? We can drop your link on the platforms that we're live in, and try to get people excited about this workshop.
Yeah. Well, there are different areas that one can set boundaries. There are about seven, I would say, 7 different areas that you can set boundaries. And there's an ooh, and I don't go through them all in the workshop because it's not all about boundaries. There are other couple of pieces as well. So if you're thinking, I already do that, Lucy, there are other bits that are really important as well in there. But there are physical boundaries. So it's like, you don't get that close to me, right? Don't, because you can feel that energy, right? It's, if there's somebody getting too close, I start walking backwards if somebody's getting too close to me, and sometimes you're kind of back up against a wall. I'm out of here. Right? So there's a boundary. Don't come too close, right? And then you have, you're talking about somebody who's perhaps dating, right? Then there's sexual boundaries. So you're not going to get that thing on the first, second, or third date. There might be a boundary there. It's like, there's none of that happening until I know that you're a safe person. So having those kind of boundaries is also really important. And knowing, I think setting them for yourself is the most important thing, because if you don't know what those boundaries are that you've set for yourself, then you're overstepping boundaries that you know should be there. And you go, oh no, why did I do that? And you feel yucky and bad about yourself. You think, no, I'm not that person that does that thing on a first date, right? I just don't do it. So that can be a second one. And then there's emotional boundaries, right? And mental boundaries, when somebody is pushing you mentally or emotionally. And sometimes we know we need to be extended in that area. It's like, oh, you're really pushing me. But also there are some people that, that's not your place to push me in that area, and there's a boundary there. So there has to be another boundary for those emotions and that mental taxing, when somebody's mentally taxing you. And then you have spiritual boundaries. So there's another boundary, right? So the spiritual side of you, where are you going to place those, and how important are those kinds of things to you, your spirituality? And if somebody is pushing up against that and putting you down because of that, well, there's a boundary there. That's like, no, you leave that part of me alone, because that's important to me. And so that boundary, again, needs to be set. And we have financial boundaries. I'm only going to spend this much of money. This could be a boundary to yourself. I'm only going to spend this much per week on X. I'm only going to get new clothes every other week, or whatever it is, every other month. So the financial stuff and the material things. So like if you're buying a new dress or having a new hairdo or your nails done or whatever, right? What are the boundaries there? And they seem really small, but when you're looking at peak performance, which is what I'm leading with that, if you don't have boundaries for yourself, then you're not in control of what you're doing. And with peak performance, you need to have that control over yourself, right?
Yeah.
I'm not
Right.
going to work weekly, right? I'm going to work at this time. I'm going to be focused, and then I've got my own time. So again, there you're setting your own boundaries within your time. So that's the next one, is time boundaries. I work from this time till this time. I'm going to take this amount of time off. So there are so many different types of boundaries. And then the last one are the ones that are absolutely non-negotiable, which can come from any of the others. It's like non-negotiable boundaries. Maybe you've only got one or two of those, or maybe you've got 5 or 6 of those, but it's like you're not going anywhere over that boundary. It's like, that's it. Otherwise, you're out of here. You're out of my life. Don't come and speak with me again. I'm not working with you ever again. If you cross that boundary, it's like non-negotiable. So those are the 7 types of boundaries. As I say, I go into working with people on finding out what they are.
That's so much information. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's only one part of your workshop. How on earth do you get through all of this in an hour? Talk about like lots of takeaways from your workshops, I can imagine.
Yeah, there are. And as I say, I go deep into a couple of these, not in all. If somebody then works with me and they want to dive into specific areas, and that's what we then do, is we go into those areas. So if somebody's working one-to-one, it's like, okay, let's dive into this area. And generally, Kristen, there's one area that's more important to somebody than somebody else. So like if they're really bad with their finances, that might be one that we come back to. Then we go off and do another one, and then the next week we come back to finances, and then we go off to another one, then we go back to finances again. So that's their main area that we work on. So it's I always personalize stuff, and and I know that you do too. It's like you're coaching the person. You're not coaching a program that the person has to fit into. You're coaching the person, and you're fitting into what their needs are, along with your skills and your assets, and how that person needs to be supported, and the things that you need to coach them through.
Yeah, so good. Right, because it's a curated, in like a real one-to-one coaching, it's a curated approach for that person or that female. Again, I'm thinking more about this now that I understand more, is like you work with female business owners, entrepreneurs, and maybe leaders, right?
Yes.
And so then it's kind of like, and the goal is peak performance. And isn't that interesting that you're just one part of your workshop covers these boundaries? I know we went into a rabbit hole on it, but I'm just like into it. So it's like the boundaries, you talk about finances and spirituality, and maybe there's even a health component, because it's like, yeah, if I want to scale to my first million or reach a $10 million goal, I have to have boundaries around like honoring what I say I'm going to do when I'm going to do it. And that includes everything that impacts me as a human being, so that I get the right amount of sleep, I'm feeding my body with the right amount of nutrition, and I'm showing up and working the best when I'm working, not sitting at my desk for the sake of the fact that it's a work hour. It's like, no, I'm actually working. And then when I'm done working, I'm done working. Like, so anyway, that's what I picked up on what you were saying. I really like it.
Yeah. And to your point, Kristen, it's like when you're sitting at your desk, part of peak performance again is knowing what your priorities are. It's knowing you've got clarity on what you're going to do, and they've got your things around you that are going to help support you to get it done now, rather than it's like, oh, it's over there somewhere, and you're taking half the time searching for the flipping file or the website that you need to get to or whatever. It's like you've got that clarity there before you sit down and do your hour, 2 or 3 focus time. And so that comes into the peak performance side. And the alignment side, which we haven't kind of touched on yet, is, I was speaking to somebody today who I'm about to be on a podcast with in the next couple of weeks, and she was talking about being in corporate and how you're expected to do so much, and somebody in management will ping you at 11 o'clock at night with a message to do something by 8 the next morning. It's like, well, when are we supposed to sleep? And feeling like they do so much and they're not seeing the return on the investment and of their time. And so because of that, they're losing a part of themselves. They're losing that, especially women, but also men. It's like that alignment with themselves, the spirituality side, their family, tuning into all of that stuff, being present, working on themselves, because all they're doing is just focusing on their company, their business, whatever it is, that thing that they've got to reach that high level of peak performance. So it's bridging the gap between those two things.
Right. One thing I've done for myself in this 3-year entrepreneurial journey, because I was so held to the clock of others when you're in corporate. I mean, when you have a full-time job, you're expected to work full-time. But we learned these strategies that if you control your own time, it isn't work. It's actually, how do you work smarter, not harder? And some of these things that you're talking about, they're actually really hard to unlearn. And it took 3 years of iteration of like managing my calendar to get to a place where I am now. And I know that this still isn't final. I laugh all the time. What I'm saying is, like, I laugh all the time to myself that my work hours are 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific, but it's 9 a.m. Pacific. And here we are, it's like, what things can I do outside of my work hours that are fun? And this is very fun for me. Like promoting you and your event and giving you a platform to talk about, your zone of genius. Like, that's fun for me. And so I'm like, if I can bring fun into my work, and if I'm getting my walks in, and if I'm trying my best to like eat well, and now I'm on the positive prime train, for example, of like priming my brain every day, then I can more easily keep the rigidity of like 11 to 2 as being work hours, which is one battle in and of itself. Most people are like, how on earth would you do anything between 11 and 2 only, right? But it's kind of like, what is the boundary? And then what I am just like, what are exceptions beyond that boundary? This is an exception and it's super fun. So why not? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are things to do in our work that are not so much, it's like, I don't enjoy this so much, but I know I got to do it, right? So as an example, today, after the workshop, I'm running a 5-day challenge, and I knew I needed to change all of the email dates and times and links and all of that stuff. And it's like, I know I've got to do this, and I know it's going to take a while, so let me just focus and get in there and do it. That feels more like work than this, which is like, I'm just having a chat with a friend. And sharing my thing, and because it'll help more people, and more people can get support because we're having this fun together, we're having this conversation, right? So I think you're absolutely right. When you're settling down to work, it's like I've got to do the thing that I perhaps don't enjoy quite so much. Might be sending out messages to people and invitations. It might be getting back to emails and all of that stuff. So having the fun in between is you got to do it.
But like, it's almost like you and I know that, but I bet it comes out naturally in your teachings, even either in the workshop or specifically in your one-to-one, because so many of us who spent years and years, I mean, I spent 20 years in corporate, and I loved it, but it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun in this way. Or I would have ideas like, hey, I want to do a panel, or hey, like I was volunteering on this nonprofit for years in my industry. And even I was doing this live series, but respectfully, there was a lot of red tape around the bylaws and the processes and the procedures. And so if there's red tape in a nonprofit like that, obviously there's red tape in a corporation. And so you have ideas to have fun, and then it's nobody's fault. It's just like how the corporation is set up. Like you're like, ugh, but you can't do it that way. Or like, you can't do that. And so I just think that this is probably something you do teach people, and because and I also teach people this because it's just so important. It's not to be understated. Like, don't kill yourself in implementation. Don't work yourself to death. And with your boundary strategy, right? Like, bring the fun back to life.
Yeah. And I have people that is like, but if I've got those boundaries, it sounds really strict, right? It sounds like I can't have the fun, but it allows you to get things done. It gets things done faster because you've got the boundaries. It's like, I'm going to stop at this time, or I'm going to start at this time. You get the thing done fast as long as you've got that clarity and all the other peak performance stuff in place. And then guess what? You have time to have more fun. Right. And so you are going to have more fun. And if you just try it, if you just get on that, I'll give you an example. There was one lady from, I think it was beginning of last year, maybe 18 months ago. And she had never set boundaries. She'd never set goals ever in her whole life. She's like over 50. And she didn't know how to. So she had never done this before. So we walked her through how it might look, what she might see, who she needed to set the boundaries with, how she might speak to them, because sometimes that's it, is if I even start the conversation. And she keeps on coming back to me saying, Lucy, I'm implementing this. It's so good. I never thought I'd be able to do it. And people are absolutely fine. And they're really happy. And they know when to come and speak to me. She's, a seamstress, and she's a head seamstress at a theatre company. She's amazing. But everybody wanted her time, and she needed to have her own time without them. And so her joy is that she's got joy back in her life, and she can go and do more gardening, which is what she loves doing, because she set boundaries. It's given her more freedom.
Oh, that is music to my ears. Both the fact that this is a real life example of your strategy in action, and I love gardening also. One of the things, it's pretty warm here in Southern California, even being early February. We've been very, very, knock on wood, lucky this winter season, but I can't wait until the weather is just fully vibrant and sunny. And I'm sure you too in the UK are looking for sunny days ahead.
For sure.
Yeah, when I can get my garden back going. Okay, Lucy, what else are you doing in the workshop? You don't have to give it to us all because you've already given us a lot, but like you said, the boundary section is just one part, and I went in a rabbit hole. So what else can people?
Yeah, well, do I share the other two? It's two other parts of peak performance. So the boundaries is what you can use in the other two parts as well, but it is also helping you with peak performance. So what I would say is come to the workshop and find out, because when you use all three parts, then you are definitely going to go away with something. So like I said at the beginning, if boundaries is something you've got ticked off your list and you're like, I'm good with that, Lucy, I'm sus with my boundaries, still come for the other two parts, even though you don't know what they are, because I'm not going to tell you, because it will help you with your peak performance. And you might find something in the boundaries section along with the other two where you, that is something I hadn't thought of. So I can set a boundary in that area over there to help me even more to be successful, right? So yeah. So I think
that's what it's. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say I'm going to keep it top secret.
But I think like that's that. So then it's good that we dug deep into the boundary section, because there's always an epiphany. If you have an open mind, right? There's a woman named Dr. Barbara Fredrickson, and she talks about this theory where You either see abundance and you see more and you see like openness, or you shrink. If you keep an open mindset about the possibility that, oh, I have my boundaries in place and I'm rigid and I've got all my goals, but if you're open to the possibility that there would be something, a nugget worth 1 hour of time is nothing in the scheme of things where you're teaching all of this. And if you learn, I believe in like the 1% model. It isn't like somebody, like even when you invest in coaching, right, or consulting, personally, or in others invest in you, it isn't some big grandiose plan that like ultimately gets created as a result of that. A lot of times it's 1%, and the 1% shift makes all the difference. That's what turns the dial in any business. It's not, it's because the consistency compounds little tiny bits. And so if there's one thing that somebody learned from the workshop, even if their boundaries were set and locked and they came in with an open mind, that's what makes all of the difference for anybody to succeed, because they'll find that one thing and they'll turn the dial in their business or their leadership 1%, and they'll go off to have better growth or whatever it is for them, their goal.
Yeah, and
okay,
so cool. And
I'm okay. It's okay.
I was just going to say, to your point, if you go to a seminar or something, if you go to a seminar or something like that, it can just be one sentence or one word even that you take away from it to make that difference in your business. One word can make that difference. It's like, oh, if I say that instead of that, that's going to make the difference. Never know. It's like you say, that open mind, and sometimes it's not coming from a learning perspective. Sometimes it's coming from if I was teaching and I'm somebody who is a coach or a teacher, what could I learn from that I could use over here from a teaching perspective, right? So you can learn things from different perspectives. So if it feels good, do it, and if it doesn't, that's okay too.
Okay, so when is it? Tell us when it is. Today's Thursday, the 5th. Yeah.
It's a week today, so it's Thursday the 12th. It is 5 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, so noon Eastern and 10 Pacific. Is that right? No.
Yeah. You're
9 Pacific, 9 Pacific. Oops.
Yeah.
9 Pacific.
No.
9 Pacific, 12 Eastern.
Yeah. I live here and I don't know. I was like, no, you did that amazing. But yes, 9 a.m. Pacific is 12 p.m. Eastern, which you're saying is 5 p.m.
It is 5 p.m. GMT. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So after this, can you go in? I need your link. So I'll put your link in the link. We're live right now on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, though the Instagram links don't save. So the lives don't save. So I'll share your link, or you can go in and share your link in all those places so they can register.
Yeah. And it's actually very easy. It's lucyjdutton.com/boundaries.
Okay, hold on.
lucyjdutton.com/boundaries.
Is it a backslash?
Forward
Is that a backslash or a forward slash? Okay, hold on.
I can't actually see what you've done.
No, I'm going to put it right here. But isn't that a backslash? I always say backslash. Is that a forward?
That's a forward. That's a forward. That's leaning forward. Yeah. Backslash is that way because it's leaning backwards.
See, I have an open mind and I just learned something new. I wish there was a poll feature, because I'm dying to know if other people think that that's also a backslash.
Anyway. Yeah, so it's leaning forward into the next part of the sentence.
Okay, I see. Yeah, super easy. Yeah. Good job making it very, very, very easy. And you've got some testimonials on this website. Awesome. Okay, so just go there and reserve your spot and join Lucy at her workshop.
Yeah, it's complimentary, so come along and have some fun.
Oh yeah, look at that. It's free to attend. I can't believe it, Lucy. Was there anything else for today, or we can go ahead and wrap up? But thank you so much for joining.
No, I think that's enough for the audience, and we've had great fun together. So thank you so much. And yeah, I will see you soon. And if you're listening in, hopefully I'll see you soon too.